What if I told you that the modern middle class is not rising, but slowly sinking? That the very label stable has become the most dangerous illusion of this decade? You earn a decent salary. You pay your bills. You upgrade your lifestyle every few years. From the outside, everything looks respectable. But let me ask you something uncomfortable. If your income stopped today, how long would your life continue without panic? 3 months? 6? Our previous generations associated middle class with security. Today, it often represents fragility disguised as progress. Higher income no longer guarantees freedom. It guarantees higher commitments, bigger mortgages, larger EMIs, expensive schooling, lifestyle subscriptions that quietly multiply. This video is not about blaming anyone. It's about awareness. Stay with me, because the final shift will uncover changes everything about how you see money. If you're serious about building wealth and breaking free from money problems, hit that subscribe button. We've got powerful content lined up to fuel your journey. When someone crosses the 80,000 or 120,000 income mark, there's a sense of arrival. Years of education, hustle, and delayed gratification finally feel validated. But here's the psychological twist. Income rises fast and lifestyle rises faster. Rent becomes mortgage. Public transport becomes car payments. Budget vacations become premium experiences. Suddenly, that good salary feels average. The middle class lives in a cycle where income growth is immediately absorbed by expense growth. It feels natural. It feels deserved. But it quietly locks you into a higher monthly survival cost. The problem isn't earning more. It's anchoring identity to lifestyle upgrades instead of asset building. Once fixed costs rise, flexibility disappears. A job loss no longer feels like a setback. It feels like a crisis. Here's the uncomfortable reflection. If your income doubled tomorrow, would your savings rate double, or your lifestyle? Most people instinctively upgrade. They justify it as progress. Yet real wealth rarely announces itself through visible consumption. It grows quietly in what you choose not to upgrade. This illusion keeps millions feeling financially stressed despite earning more than their parents ever did. And what makes it even more dangerous is that many of those purchases feel like assets, but they often behave like something else entirely. Reason number 2. When assets become anchors. Owning a beautiful home feels like success. Driving a new SUV feels like achievement. Sending children to premium schools feels responsible. None of these are wrong. But here's the deeper layer. Are they building independence or increasing dependency? A primary residence with a 30-year mortgage may appreciate over time, but it also locks you into decades of obligation. Property taxes, maintenance, insurance, and interest quietly extend the financial weight. That home doesn't generate cash flow, it consumes it. Culturally, we celebrate visible milestones: the housewarming party, the car delivery photo, the upgraded kitchen. But rarely do we celebrate increasing net investable assets. That silence hides the real scoreboard. Ask yourself honestly, if an emergency forced you to sell your major possessions quickly, would they sell for what you paid? Or would you realize that much of your wealth was emotional satisfaction attached to depreciating commitments? The middle class often confuses comfort with capital growth. And once most of your income feeds fixed obligations, something even more fragile emerges: dependence on a single source of survival. Reason number 3. The salary dependency trap. The modern middle class depends heavily on one thing: a steady paycheck. As long as the salary arrives on time, life functions smoothly. But that single stream carries enormous risk. Corporate restructures, automation, market slowdowns, health disruptions. Any one of these can destabilize everything. The irony is that many high earners feel secure because of their position or title. Yet employment is still conditional. Stability is rented, not owned. True financial resilience often comes from diversified income, small business equity, intellectual property, rental cash flow, or investments that grow quietly in the background. Not extreme risk-taking, just layered streams that reduce vulnerability. The middle class is rarely encouraged to think in terms of ownership. The focus remains on climbing corporate ladders rather than building parallel ladders. This mindset creates comfort in routine but fear of disruption. And while salary dependency creates structural fragility, something more subtle amplifies the pressure: the invisible competition that surrounds modern life. Reason number 4, the comparison economy. Scroll through social media and you'll see curated vacations, upgraded homes, new gadgets, and celebratory milestones. Subtly, comparison becomes the baseline. Without realizing it, the middle class begins performing success rather than building security. Sociologists have long discussed the idea of status consumption, purchasing not just for utility, but for signaling. The pressure isn't always loud. It's quiet. Everyone else seems to be doing better. Maybe we should upgrade too. A new phone feels like staying relevant. Weddings, birthdays, and festivals become financial competitions disguised as celebrations. The danger isn't occasional enjoyment, it's structural alignment. When spending decisions are guided by external optics, internal stability erodes. Here's a reflective moment. Are your financial decisions shaped by personal goals or public perception? That answer determines whether you're building independence or maintaining appearances. The comparison economy drains capital that could have compounded quietly over years. And compounding, the silent force of long-term growth, is often the missing link that separates financial tension from financial transformation. Reason number 5, the compounding delay. Time is the most underappreciated financial asset. Small amounts invested early can grow dramatically over decades due to compound growth. Yet, many middle-class earners postpone consistent investing because expenses are high right now. Early career years feel tight. Mid-career years feel busy. Later years feel urgent. The pattern repeats. There's always a reason to delay. The tragedy is not lack of income, it's lost time. Compounding rewards consistency, not perfection. Even modest contributions over 20-25 years can significantly change financial outcomes. But when investing begins late, the pressure to catch up intensifies. Psychologically, investing feels less urgent than paying bills or upgrading lifestyle. The results are invisible at first. There's no immediate dopamine hit, so it gets deprioritized. Delaying compounding doesn't feel painful in the present. It feels normal, but its impact shows up decades later in the form of limited freedom. And beneath this delay lies another systemic issue. Many people were never taught how money truly works in the first place. Reason number 6, education without financial conditioning. Millions graduate with degrees that increase earning potential, yet very few receive structured financial education. We learn how to pass exams, apply for jobs, and negotiate salaries. Rarely do we learn asset allocation, risk assessment, or long-term planning. Student loan balances often stretch into decades. High-income careers begin under the shadow of repayment obligations. By the time income stabilizes, lifestyle pressures have already expanded. This creates a paradox. The middle class invests heavily in formal education but receives minimal training in wealth strategy. The result is high earning capacity paired with average financial positioning. Financial literacy is rarely inherited in middle-class households. Conversations often revolve around saving and security, not ownership and growth. This mindset prioritizes caution over calculated expansion. Without financial conditioning, income becomes consumption fuel rather than investment capital. And when consumption is normalized, debt becomes normalized too, often without realizing how quietly it erodes progress. Number 7, debt as normal living. Credit cards, car loans, easy EMIs, They're presented as convenience, and in moderation, they can be manageable. But when borrowing becomes routine lifestyle support, financial flexibility shrinks. Consumer debt often carries high interest rates, which create negative compounding. Instead of money growing quietly, it leaks quietly. Minimum payments extend timelines. Interest accumulates invisibly. The middle class often justifies debt with optimism about future earnings. I'll earn more next year. It's manageable. Over time, obligations stack. What once felt small becomes structural. The stress isn't always obvious. It shows up as reduced risk tolerance, fewer entrepreneurial attempts, hesitation to change jobs, fear of income disruption. Debt creates psychological pressure beyond numbers. Ask yourself honestly, if you removed all debt payments tomorrow, how different would your financial breathing room feel? That gap reveals how much energy is being consumed by past decisions. Debt itself isn't the villain. Misaligned borrowing is. And beneath all these patterns lies the deepest factor of all, identity. Reason number 8, identity and the invisible ceiling. The phrase, "we're just middle class," carries humility, but it can also carry limitation. Identity shapes behavior more than logic does. If you see yourself as someone who survives rather than builds, your actions will align accordingly. Behavior follows internal narrative. When someone identifies as an asset builder, they look for ownership opportunities. When someone identifies as an employee climbing safely, they prioritize stability over expansion. The middle class often values safety, predictability, and respectability. These are admirable traits. But excessive attachment to comfort can quietly cap growth. Wealth building requires occasional discomfort, strategic risk, and long-term patience. Breaking the invisible ceiling doesn't require extreme moves. It requires a shift from consumption-driven validation to ownership-driven positioning. And when that shift happens, something remarkable follows. Lifestyle becomes a byproduct of assets, not the goal itself. Imagine a future where your expenses are covered not just by work, but by assets working quietly in the background, where decisions are driven by long-term positioning rather than short-term comparison, where financial choices are intentional rather than reactive. That transformation doesn't happen overnight. It builds quietly, consistently, invisibly, until one day you realize you are no longer financially fragile. You are financially strong. Know in the comments what all did we do right so that we can improve and keep doing that better. Don't forget to share this video with at least one person who will get some insights, because one video is enough to give people enough ideas to change their lives. I'll see you next video, and also don't forget to subscribe the channel.